Today we are going to change the printer head on the Epson ET 16680. I've already done this work, I'm replicating it for camera, but in essence the magenta was not printing. I've tested out the ink delivery, I've changed the ink cartridge that's inside the printer head, I've changed pretty much everything else. And this particular printer would very occasionally print in magenta and then decide not to. So I decided to try changing the print head. I have 30 different machines. I had one that had failed for other reasons. I was able to use the spares. So procedure is, there is a screw just here that needs to be removed. It's better if you have a magnetic screwdriver. Sadly I don't. And then to get this shell off, the easiest way is to move aside the printer lock lever and then to move this unit sideways with your thumb, give it a slight lift. This one's coming off quite easily because it's been off a few times, but there are two tabs here that you do not wish to snap, those two there. So if you lift from the back, then that generally will pull off the first, which will then pull off the second. There is then a screw back here that needs to be removed. And again, I haven't got a magnetic screwdriver, so that's not going to come. This section is a ribbon that holds the cables in the correct place, and that's supposed to be nestled in there. And it just helps guide the hoses so they don't snag and foul, I guess. So that needs to be lifted out. You then pull the catches on the 4 cartridges and lift all of those out. I usually just dangle those over the side, out of the way, as you can see there. Right, I've changed angles to get a better viewpoint. So it's very important that this wheel here, you do not remove the screws from it. I have, and of course it's got a spring on it, and I have never seen it again. And in actual fact, it has no benefit to this procedure. So this wheel here, this cog, leave the screw in place. There is a shell here that prevents access to all of the screws. There are 3, we can only see 2 at the moment. So we need to remove the shell. So there's a couple of tabs on the outside that need to come off. I forgot about that. There we are. So you can see there's the tabs there. One is now missing because it broke, so you've got to be careful with these. That needs to come out. So you can now see this plastic guard here. If we lift that away, we can then release this plastic part and just move it to one side. That just holds the ribbon cables down. Now we can see that there are in fact 3 screws. It's probably not obvious on this camera angle. So we've got one there, and one there. Don't touch that one. So these also have springs, but they're not quite so violent. Now, at this point, the print head will in fact just come out. You have to bear in mind that this is probably going to be absolutely smothered in ink. You're better off with gloves. I don't have any gloves. There. Just be careful of the ribbons. And there is your print head. Do not be tempted to remove those 4 screws. It is not necessary. All you need to do is gently pull out the ribbon cables, like so. Now, when I did this on my actual one I was repairing, I did one side at a time. So I brought in the new printer head, rejoined those 2 cables, just as I could not get anything mixed up, and then I did the other side. Putting back is very easy. You just give them a gentle shove. They are stiffened, so they will take a little bit of pushing. And then same on the other side, you literally just pull them out and then push them back in on the new part. And try not to mangle your ribbon cables whilst you're doing it. That then snuggles back into it where it came from. There we go. Just make sure you've got all your ribbon cables nicely nestled and reinsert the screws. Okay, we now have them all back in again. So as usual, reassembly is the reverse of disassembly. We need to put back the plate at the top that holds all the ribbon cables. Then we need to reinsert the plastic widget, which has clips at the top that go in holes up here that you can't see with this terrible lighting. We'll need to push the spring to get it to drop down. And then engage the prongs with the sockets. Need to reinsert the plastic guard that holds all the ribbon cables out of the way. One way of approaching this is to lay the screw into the hole in which it's going to go anyway. And just be mindful as it settles down, it's going to rise up and potentially fall out again, but that's one solution. There, they all clip in, and the screw thankfully has stayed more or less where it needs to be, so I can just lock that one down, give it all a good last shove, put the top plate on, engaging with these 2 here and these 2 here. That's all secure. That screw goes in. That usually fights you as well. So once you've got all that reassembled, you will need to run the nozzle check a few times. You may need to run the basic print head clean a few times. But the nozzle check seems to be the one that's most effective.